everybody, Josh12 back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for the premiere episode for AMC's newest original program, Preacher. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into the newest original program by AMC, Preacher, Episode 1, titled Pilot. Now, of course, there's specific things going into this show that I definitely want to state prior to giving my initial thoughts on the actual episode and premiere of this newest show on AMC. Number one, I'm a big AMC guy. I've loved what they've done. A lot of their shows have really not been, been a very specific hit and miss for me. I feel like the state that AMC was at the time of its initial empire with original programming is kind of over. It's kind of done. Granted, Walking Dead is keeping the lights on over at AMC, but for the most part, there's not really any other real program over there that is destroying as much as they would want it to, and of course winning multiple awards as they would want to, as much as they were when they had the big three along with The Walking Dead. But with that being said, the second major reserve or hesitation I did have going into the show, number two, was obviously my lack of knowledge and, of course, interest in the source material, which is of the same name, Preacher. Preacher, of course, is based off a comic book series, graphic novels, if you will, from DC's Vertical imprint. I was never really a big Preacher guy. I've heard of them. I've seen them. I've read some pages from various graphic novels of Preacher, but I never got hooked into it. I never really sat down and read it from beginning to end, the entire saga or storyline of said Preacher. But I did see the teasers, I did see the trailers, I did see the sneak peeks, I did see what everyone was saying, so it intrigued me to want to see the actual show, and plus because of my love of AMC, there is a connection to make me want to check out said show. But the third and biggest, I guess you could say, reservation and or hesitation I did have going into the show in this newest premiere episode had to have been the corporation of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg in this show. Now, granted, they are practically the showrunners, I mean, they're the executive producers, they're the writers, they're the story creators, they're the freaking directors of this pilot episode, and who knows how many other episodes they'll be directing. But for the most part, as much as I admire them for going all out in a different kind of genre outside of the comedy they've done, that I've, obviously definitely love and appreciate, I really didn't want to see another property that was comic book related that was done by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. I mean, they've pretty much have done that before with the Green Hornet. They did the Green Hornet, and it was a hit that really missed. It was a major miss. It was a major just letdown. The Green Hornet could have been something really cool and interesting and awesome, and even though there are several factors within that movie that does work, the whole thing kind of just falls apart and just slams on the ground, at least for me personally. So going into this newest program that they're attached to, I really had reserves and hesitations. However, after seeing the entire pilot of the episode, I can honestly say I forgive them for Green Hornet. Preacher kicks ass. It's freaking awesome. It's so freaking badass. I definitely want to see and read the freaking graphic novels after seeing this episode. I have full-on faith that this could be AMC's newest hit that could rival the Walking Dead franchise that has become, the obviously moneymaker over at AMC. This show completely changed my mind on all the hesitation and reservations I had going into it. It's so freaking badass and awesome. It's bloody, it's gory, it's various different genres into one. I mean, it's like the Western, then it's classical, then it's slapstick comedy, then it's supernatural and horror and westerny. It's just all these things rolled up into one. It's so freaking awesome. Now, granted, like I stated in my reserves, I don't know a lot about the Preacher source material. I don't want to pretend I do, so I'm going to try and keep the subplot, or at least my poor ass summary for said subplot, to a minimum, which of course is Dominic Cooper's character is a preacher at this small town. He has a dark past, as much as we know, or as far as we have learned throughout the pilot, and he's trying to make amends, or try to, change the perception of him within himself and of course with everyone around him as this new preacher at this town. But of course, as he is trying to deal with this sad thing, we have other characters like freaking Joseph Gilgan's character, who's like this demonic creature comedy, lackluster comedy freaking character who's just reaping havoc all over the place in the sidelines. And then you have this supernatural alien-like entity that has come to our planet to essentially kill off religions or whatever, or just kill off major priests and what have you in these religions on Earth. It's pretty wacky. The storyline's kind of hard to follow, especially if you don't know the source material inside and out. But for the most part, that's pretty much the basic summary that we got within the pilot. And I can honestly say, they killed it. I mean, for not knowing anything about the source material, Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg killed it. They destroyed it. Not only with the writing, but with the directing. They freaking killed it. They were amazing. I thought it was just going to be like a typical douche, like, idiot's perception of their work. I thought, like, oh, what is it going to be? Some freaking pothead comedy? No, it's super freaking funny, but it's also very surreal and realistic, or surrealistic, rather, and very freaking grungy, in your face, and horrific when it needs to be, and it's super badass to see that. The action's on point, the comedy's on point, the horror's on point. Everything's on point with this episode. They definitely destroyed it when it came to writing the story for the pilot and directing it simultaneously. Moving off of that, the performances are phenomenal. I think the cast that they got for this show kick ass. Dominic Cooper is awesome. I think he's a great actor and he was a perfect choice for the main character. He's awesome. Joseph Gilgan, hands down one of my favorite characters within this first pilot episode for this series. He's so freaking good. I've been a fan of Joseph's for a long time now, ever since I saw him in his work with, the This Is England series, and movie, of course, and obviously Misfits, which I was a gigantic fan of back in the day. It was just really awesome programs that he was attached to, and now that he's a part of this, it's really cool to see him completely change, from being kind of goofy, leading man type, archetype, comedy guy, to being straight up, still funny, but straight up murdering, psychopathic, freaking wackadoo, demonic creature guy. It's just freaking crazy and awesome. And then you have a whole bunch of other various characters that are very hard to follow, yet they're awesome to look at. Just various characters like Ruth's character, who's this freaking badass chick. It's freaking amazing. Preacher is awesome. It's an amazing show. After seeing the pilot, I can already say I'm hooked. I completely recommend it. It's binge-worthy. If you're one of those, TV show people who just like to wait until the season's over to binge-watch everything, this is the show that is binge-worthy. This is the show that definitely, I don't know, ratings-wise, could inevitably rival, that is, The Walking Dead. I find that unlikely, but at the end of the day, I do feel that this could be a show that has certain longevity. If they can continue the consistency with this pilot, with future episodes, and continue to escalate it, I think this show could be amazing. It could be phenomenal. It could be possibly the next big, badass, best TV show of all time over at AMC, and that's obviously something they definitely need at this point, considering the only thing they have left is The Walking Dead and spin-offs of other shows that we like, but don't like as much as the original. So, with that being said, my final verdict for this episode pilot review has to be a solid 9 out of 10. I did not expect myself to like Preacher as much as I inevitably end up having, but it's freaking phenomenal. It is so freaking good. The horror elements are amazing. The supernatural elements are cool. The style that they went for, the directing, the writing is so freaking on point. The acting's awesome. Dominic Cooper was a great choice. Joseph was also a really great choice for these characters. I really love the character of Arseface. He's freaking awesome. I mean, we only got to see, I want to say one good scene and then a couple glimpses throughout the pilot, but overall, he's freaking awesome. The makeup effects, definitely on point. Granted, it's AMC, it's freaking Greg Nicotero's work, so of course it is what it is. It's going to be phenomenal regardless, but it was really cool the way they did it and added to the performance completely. Everything about this show, tonally, writing-wise, directing, visually, performance, everything is completely consistent and phenomenal. It is an awesome new show that you should definitely check out. And of course, if you're a binge watcher, it's definitely binge worthy. But let me know what you personally think in the comment section below. This has been my personal thoughts, breakdown, and review of the premiere episode, the pilot of Preacher, AMC's Preacher. Let me know what you personally thought about it in the comment section below. I'd like to hear other people's thoughts on it. For me, it's just awesome. It's just so freaking good. I did not freaking understand why people were giving a shit, and then I watched it, and then it's freaking, now I'm hooked. I'm hooked. I can't help it. I need to see more. I mean, for everything that is holy in this world, Tom Cruise exploded. Tom Cruise died. He died in Preacher. What other TV show has Tom Cruise dying like if it was nothing? I mean, come on. That's freaking awesome. That's Preacher. Tom Cruise died in Preacher. Did Tom Cruise die in freaking Walking Dead or freaking Game of Thrones or any of these other freaking awesome TV shows out there? No, they didn't. He died in Preacher. So check out Preacher. It's the show for you. You need to check it out. And of course, if you enjoyed it, please go check out the source material, as I will inevitably end up doing because of how much I loved this freaking pilot. But with that being said and done, I hope you guys enjoyed. Shameless plug time. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Josh12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already. And hope you guys enjoyed. And this has been Josh12.